Guys, you see this beautiful 2023 Street Glide ST in white sand pearl. Yes, I've added a new bike to the HD Vibe garage. Guys, my name is Rick and this is the HD Vibe channel. In today's video, I'm going to tell you about the first bike that I've ever purchased brand new from Harley Davidson. We're going to talk about some of the features and differences between the Street Glide ST and the special models. And finally, we're going to answer the question, did I make a huge mistake in buying this 2023 Street Glide ST now? Or did I make a great decision in light of the recent announcement of the 2023 CVO Road Glide and Street Glides will be coming out soon? And we'll get into all that right after this. That's right, guys. I have a 2023 Street Glide ST in white sand pearl that I've added to the HD Vibe garage. This is actually my first motorcycle that I've actually purchased new. Super excited that I actually was able to order this through Gateway Harley Davidson, who really helped me out on this in terms of getting it here, and ordered it directly from Harley Davidson, and I actually got to see it come off the truck. And I got to unwrap it the day it came off the truck. But that same day, Harley Davidson put out a video very early in the morning introducing the new CVO Street Glide and Road Glide to the world, with more information to come later in June of this year. So it really began to bother me. But before we get into that, let's talk about some of the features of the 2023 Street Glide ST. So obviously this is white sand pearl. You can also get it in black. But one of the main differences between the specials and the ST is primarily the engine. So this comes with the Milwaukee 8 117, which has a performance cam and a performance exhaust on it. Now it does have stock slip-ons, and that's definitely something I'm going to have to change in the not too distant future. So besides the 117, as compared to the 114 on the specials, it also has a different suspension. So this actually sits up about 1 inch higher. It has a 13-inch shock on the rear versus the 12-inch on your special. So that different suspension gives you about 1 inch more ground clearance from the Street Glide Special. However, if you have the stock seat on it, and I'm going to tell you this is not the stock seat, I had to change that out just after driving it home from the dealership. It had about 30 miles on it. I could not stand it. It came off immediately, and I put this Saddlemen Dominator low solo seat on it. But irrespective, the seat height is about the same between the two, because actually the seat, the stock seat, which I'll show a picture of that right up here, is very flat, if you will. It doesn't have much padding or cushion in it. It is a solo seat setup, so it does sit you down just a little bit lower than what would the stock seat on a special. So I think that's how you almost get the same laden height, which I think is around 27 or so, and I think the special is like 26.8. So you know, obviously that would be equate to your inseam. If the seat's a little wide, it's going to push you out a little bit more, but irrespective, pretty close the same, but you do get a little bit more clearance. The other thing, the difference between the special and the ST, are the bags. So obviously with the special you get stretch bags. With the ST, it's set up to be the performance bagger sort of platform, if you will, if you want to build it out. It has the standard bags. These are the same bags that were on my 2015 Street Glide Special. It's just basically the same bags you'll find on an Ultra or a Street Glide back in the day. So no change there. They just sort of changed them out and put the shorter bags on it to give it more of that performance bagger look that people are looking for in today's marketplace. Obviously it's all blacked out. That's the only option you have on this, versus the special. You can now get chrome or blacked out. I think there's some price differential between the two. So it does have the same console up here and the single gas cap fill side. It doesn't have a fake one on the left like my Road Clean Special did. So the other difference you'll see up in the front. So On these bikes, you do get the ST or chop style fender versus the special, which is sort of the full fender that goes on here. In terms of the wheel sizes, they're the same. I believe it's a 19 up front and an 18 in the back, which gives you some pretty good maneuverability and handling with these bikes. So pretty good, and kudos from that. Now, if you go up front, you do get the Daymaker LED headlight up in the front, but your turn signals are still incandescent. So even at this price point, which is a little bit more expensive than the specials and certainly more expensive than the Street Glide Standard, you're still getting incandescent bulbs on your front turns and your rear turns. So the other main difference you'll see is actually in the rear. It just has a single light in the rear for brake. So one light for that, and then you have the dog bone style turn signals on it, and those are the incandescent bulbs again, and those only operate as turn. So they're just yellow turns. And then you'll see there's no filler panels on this. Again, getting it sort of more to the performance bagger look, but essentially they've used the same setup if you would find on an ultra limited, except for the dog bone, they don't have that. So we're gonna be taking care of all that in upcoming videos. You do get the same windscreen that you would get on your special. It's a little bit different than the CVO. The CVO has a little nicer one. And honestly, I've ridden with this on the highway now. I've ridden this bike on some back road twisties already. And I've done some slow speed maneuvering with this bike. And honestly, this thing, in all of those cases, really has performed well. And the other thing that's interesting about this is this bike overall is about 50 pounds lighter than you'll find on the specials. And a lot of that has to do with the fender setup, both front and rear. You have the shorter bags. And the other item that's leading to is you'll see the bronze accent Prodigy wheels. Those are actually powder coated. And I've been told on each wheel, they're about 4 pounds lighter than what you'll find on the specials or the CVO wheels, even though they're the same size on the Street Glides anyway. The bronze accents throughout on the heads, you got it on the breather, you've got the bronze accent on the wheels. So a lot of bronze accents. Some people like it, some people don't. I kind of like it. It's cool, it's a little bit different, something different. So the other thing that this has is that heavy breather that sort of has that snorkel on it. Much different than the ventilator style. So if you see my video on some of the five things I dislike about the CVO Street Glide, that was one of them. That snorkel breather for me, even at not a very tall guy, 5'10", I just cannot get my leg around. I mean, I can get my leg around it, but it's just not comfortable and it's not sort of muscle memory for me. So I'm constantly banging my shin on that. So when I go to brake, so we'll be making some changes to that, probably in the not too distant future as well. The big question, did I make a huge mistake, or do I think this was a great decision to go with the ST in the 2023 model year in light of the CVO Road Glide and Street Glide being announced the day that this thing came off the truck, and I was freaked out, honestly. So the big difference is, if you see the pictures of the Street Glide specifically, you'll see it has the short bag. So this kind of has the short bag. My guess is it probably will have a higher suspension, a 13-inch suspension like this. So again, this is sort of the ST was Harley Davidson's foray, if you will, into the performance bagger look and style, and this comes sort of the base platform for that. Now, it looks like to me the CVOs that are coming out, the new 2023s that will be announced in June, are more performance look oriented. If you go back to my 2021 CVO Street Glide, it has the stretch bags, it has the chrome everywhere, the fancy paint, but if you see the new ones, it's sort of more muted paint, higher bags, and to me, more performance oriented. It has the 121 variable valve timing engine. And if you want to learn a whole bunch more about that, go check out Determined Veteran's latest video on that. So one of the reasons, and he made a comment in that video that said, when these new engines come out, we basically become the beta testers for Harley Davidson, and you should go out, if you buy one of those, just run the heck out of it, because Under those 2-year warranty, if something goes wrong with that new engine, it's going to be covered. I will say, if you go back and think about when the Milwaukee 8 first came out, there were problems all over the place. Oil sumping, fluid transfer. I actually had fluid transfer on my 2019 114 Road King Special, where at under 500 miles, all of the oil from the transmission had moved over to the primary. Check the transmission fluid after having been out for a day's ride, spirited riding on the back roads like I like to do here in Missouri, and I pulled the dipstick out of the transmission and it was literally dry. So they fixed the problem and they put a vent kit in the primary to balance that pressure between those two so that the transmission fluid, primary fluid, doesn't get pushed to one side or the other. And today, these Milwaukee 8s, whether it be a 107, a 114, or the 117, still has that vent kit built in coming from the factory. I just checked all of my bikes. It has it. It's on the side of the primary. Look down there. There's a little tube to allow for that pressure equalization. So now, as I think more about some of the performance numbers that are coming from potentially from the 121 variable valve timing. So the patent that Harley Davidson filed with Australia, according to, I think it's Cycle World, they researched this and the numbers are identical to the 117. And if you look at Determined Veterans video on this, he also speculates, as have others, that the performance numbers are probably not going to be that much difference on the 121 variable valve timing versus the Milwaukee 8 117. So in my mind, I feel I have a proven Milwaukee 8 engine here that could be the platform to go even bigger and get more performance out of it and have a super reliable engine that is warranted for 2 years, and in my case I actually added another 3 years of ESP onto the end of that so that I am covered for a total of 5 years. And if I do some sort of performance build on this, which I'm very seriously thinking about, and I've had conversations with Jack at Determined Veteran, he has a 131. I also had another conversation with another YouTuber who went to the 122 kit on his Road King Special. So those are options, and let's talk about price. So I think the MSRP on this bike in this color is just a touch over $30,000. I think $30,500. Then you've got delivery fees, you've got setup fee, you've the surcharge. So you're up into 30, say mid 30s, for example. Now, I speculate, and everyone's speculating, that the new CVOs, when they come out, are going to be close to $50,000 sticker price. Maybe it's $49,999 or $48,999 or $47,000, whatever. It is a lot more money than this. And what would I gain or lose by not going to that? So in my mind, I've avoided spending probably another $20,000. I can get performance out of this engine, a proven Milwaukee 8 engine with a big bore kit. Whether I go 122 to make it sort of more set up for good cruising, or I go to a 131 and this thing is just a ripper. So, and those kits, getting those put in, you're going to spend $5,000 to maybe $6,000 or so. But if you compare that to spending another $20,000 on that CVO to get maybe less performance, maybe a few little more trinkets and fancy things like a WIM, etc. In the bike, you're not going to have gauges anymore. They're going to be all digital. To me, I think I have made a great decision by going with this Street Glide ST. Guys, down in the comments, let me know what you think about the Street Glide ST versus these new CVOs and all you've known. Or also leave some comments down below. Should I go with a 122? Should I just go with a cam? Should I go with a 131 kit? Again, thinking about, I am going to be in warranty and want to try to keep this within warranty for a number of years. So as you can imagine, there's going to be a lot of changes and upgrades. So a lot of lighting, custom dynamics. I've got a whole stack of things from custom dynamics that I have envisioned and want to do with this bike. We've got, and probably one of the first things I need to do, this bike is quiet relative to the Road Glide and the Street Glide CVO, the 2021s. And that is just really a function of those slip-ons that are on there. Harley Davidson has to do it. It's EPA, all that kind of stuff. So in the next video, I'm actually going to be doing a stage 1 upgrade. So stay tuned. That will be coming out next week. And I'm actually going to be using a tuner that you've probably not yet seen any YouTube channel utilize on the bikes. So stay tuned for that. Obviously a seat. The stock seat sucks. This is the Saddlemen Dominator low solo seat. This actually was slated to go on the Road Glide. So we'll see. But I mean, this does have a setup where I could put a 2-up seat. I just have to pop this cap off and put the seat nut in there, put the little retainer clip on, and I can do 2-up on this. It does not have, obviously, 2-up pegs. I would have to add that, but Ms. HD Vibe pretty much rides her Spider now, so she's not riding with me on the bikes anymore. So that's really not an issue. So I'm thinking solo seat. We got some stuff from Hogworks that we're going to be doing on this bike as well, color match stuff that I'm excited to bring to you. Memphis shades. We're going to be changing out the windscreen, even though this one seems to work pretty good. I do like the Memphis shades, and they do give me much more wind protection, so we'll be changing that out. We've got some Harley Davidson parts coming in that I've ordered that will be changing out on this bike. We got TCMT parts that we got coming in on this bike. So a whole lot of upgrades, a whole series on this bike. So stay tuned. And again, like I said, next week we'll be doing that stage 1 with a tuner that I'm going to operate without a computer to put the tune and get this bike sounding as good as it looks. Guys, with that, if you got some value or like this, give this a thumbs up. Also, share this with your friends if somebody wants to learn a little bit more about the Street Glide ST or the Road Glide ST. If you do want to learn about the Road Glide ST, again, check this card right up here to a video that I did last year that really goes in depth about the Road Glide Special versus the Road Glide ST. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing to the channel. I'd really be honored if you would. If you like what you see here, I've got over 160 more videos on tips, tricks, rides, reviews, installs on my Harley Davidson touring motorcycles, which I now feature 3 Harley Davidson touring motorcycles, a 2021 Road Glide Special, a 2021 Street Glide CVO, and now the 2023 Street Glide ST. And with that, guys, I want to leave you with this thought. Life is short. Get out and ride the bike. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye now.